Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear competent learners. Welcome to English Academy UGP. In my today's lecture, I'll throw light over the Anglo-Norman age that gets started from 1066 and ended at 1500. In my today's lecture, I will have a cursory glance over the reigns of the first 7 kings of that era. Before proceeding that lecture, don't forget to subscribe that channel, like that video and share it with your friends. And also press the bell icon button so you can have an easy access to every new video. Let's proceed the lecture. The first king of that era is William the Conqueror, whose era starts from 1066 and ended at 1087. The second king of that era is William II, whose reign starts from 1087 and ended at 1100. And the third king of that era is Henry I, whose reign started from 1100 and ended at 1035. The fourth king of that era is Stephen, whose reign starts from 1135 and ended at 1154. The fifth king of that era is Henry II, who reigned from 1154 and his reign ended at 1189. The sixth king of that era is Richard I, who reigned from 1189 till 1199. And the seventh king of that era is John the Lackland, who reigned from 1199 till 1216. The first king of that era is William the Conqueror. He was the first Norman king, and his court had become the center of English government because he was the first one who launched feudal system by creating lords, barons and serfs. Lords and barons were mostly Normans and awarded lands in return of their services. So they got richer and richer with the passage of the time, while the inhabitants of England were totally ignored and they are not valued as much as lords and barons were given value. So they had remained just the slaves of that state. Due to the powerful influence of Normans, the unity of England was assured because there was great bonding between lords, barons and the king. But despite of all that inequality of the circulation of wealth, the English retained their language, social customs and culture. William separated church and state, but he remained the head of church, vice versa of Anglo-Saxon age, because in Anglo-Saxon age, state has no right to interfere in the matters of the church. Then there came William II, who reigned from 1087 till 1100. His era was a totally peaceful era. There was no conflict between barons and church. Then there came Henry I, whose era started from 1100 and he reigned till 1135. His era was also a very peaceful era because there was no conflict between barons and church. And with Henry I, direct line of normal kings got ended. Then there came Stephen, who reigned from 1135 till 1154. His reign had a weak government as there was a conflict between church, barons and state. Then there came Henry II, whose reign started from 1154 and ended at 1189. He was that king who restored the crown power. He tried to regain supremacy over church, but Thomas Becket became the obstacle. Henry II knew very well how to remove that obstacle. So the result was that Thomas Becket was murdered by king's men. Then Henry II introduced the jury system. Jury system means a group of members selected by people who would listen the facts in court and then would make a decision. As a result of that murder, there raised a revolt in 1174 by Norman dukes against Henry II, who belongs to that family to which Normans always opposed. Revolt was crushed, but it produced great disturbance. But Henry II knew very well how to handle that disturbance, as he was greatly interested in fighting crusades against Muslims to capture Jerusalem. After the reign of the Henry II, there came Richard I, whose reign started from 1189 and ended at 1199. Richard I was the son of Henry II. He was a lion-hearted king. He was a great military leader and a warrior. He was also interested in England only as a source of money for his military adventures. He administered England in a very well and disciplined way, but his complete focus was over the sources of earning of money for his military adventures. So, people began to look upon ministers as a center of government. Ministers are the senior members of the government. After Richard I, there came John the Lackland, whose era started from 1199 and his reign ended at 1216. He faced revolt of barons and people against stiff policy of taxation because he introduced that policy of taxation for fulfilling the expenses of military adventures, and on the other hand, Baron's home, which was Normandy, was conquered by France. So, barons began to look upon England as their real home. This promoted English national feeling and unified English aristocracy and barons against the king. John came into conflict with the Pope on question of appointment of Archbishop of Canterbury. So, in the result of that controversy, Pope excommunicated John. Pope incited the French king to attack England because he thought that John was unable to govern and control England. But as a result of that, John submitted to the Pope in 1213 and promised to pay a yearly tribute to him. But this weak-kneed policy of John turned the barons and the people against him, and he was forced to sign the Magna Carta, that was a great charter for the liberty of the English. This charter reduced the powers of the king, and barons got right to be consulted in important matters like taxation. In later ages, people started to secure more and more rights from the king. This bent of mind led to the establishment of a limited monarchy with the real power in the hands of the representatives of the people. Here, I like to wind up my today's lecture. Inshallah, in my next lecture, I will complete the Anglo-Norman age. Always eco like a cuckoo. Stay connected, stay updated, and stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.